to shoot another really big win. And I think before we even get going, I think a lot of that win had to do with our fans and how they affected the game on third downs early in that game. I think there were some really big momentum things that caused the opponents some issues, and that's a credit to the people who showed up and gave us that second sellout in a row. And again, I think our guys really fed off that energy. And energy I was a little bit nervous about. I mean, the rivalry will obviously spur some of that. However, we had come off of two very emotional wins the previous weeks, and I really credit all the people that showed up and supported these guys and got us now to, we're going into November as a one-loss team. I don't know how many. I don't know the number, but I can't imagine there's a ton of them out there. And yet at the same time, this may be a new territory for this program and the organization. And yet, I think the good thing is we've got a lot of coaches who have been in this situation. And as we move forward with the approach and what is the next step? This is the biggest game of the year coming up, no doubt about it, because it's the next game. So that's kind of where we're at. And yet this is a very talented team that we are playing against. And when you look at some of the statistical data that is out there, this team defensively has only allowed one touchdown pass, and that was on a naked play against Auburn. I think some teams have allowed some passing touchdowns to Auburn over the years, and they're not, they're under 100 yards in passing. A team that has tremendous linebacker play, and I think their coverage schemes and coverage personnel, something that our strength has been some explosive plays in the passing game, and we've got to be prepared to accept that challenge. Offensively, they do an outstanding job of controlling the football, and with that then is your lack of possessions on offense. So playing on the road, with a cut-down travel squad of only 64 players, this will be a huge game and obviously another step in the direction that we need to go.
Quarterback was Mountain West Offensive Player of the Week. How does he shape up against guys like A.J. McCarron?
Good for him.
The other guys.
So he was a special, or he wasn't the special teams player. He was
No.
He was the offensive player of the game.
He was also the College Football Performance Award.
Really? That's cool, man. I mean, I think when you look at the efficiency in which he played in that game, that's something I think that's very satisfying for our offensive staff, and I think it speaks volumes for what the guys around him are doing a little bit too. His those numbers are good. It was interesting last week when I was on with Greg McElwain on his show. I think he brought up the time when he was like 24 or 26 in a game, and I think he had the best rating or whatever, one of those deals, and how much I picked at one of the ones that should have probably been 25 at 26. But you know what? I thought he really played comfortable. I think when you looked at him there, he got rid of the ball on time and in rhythm. I think he must have done an outstanding job of preparation going into that game, because anytime you're that accurate, a lot to be said about the preparation.
How much do you really know about San Jose's pass defense, considering some of the teams they've played have not really tried to throw on them?
Well, it was interesting. You sit there and you go, okay, the teams that they have played are teams that are built a little different.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't right. Differently? Is that proper? Okay, good. My mother probably watches this, and I'm sure
You get it.
I get the English thing quite a bit from growing up. But
Check your texts.
yeah, exactly. But you sit there and you watch the teams that they have played, and teams that were built a little different. Obviously, the last game against Navy, how much do you garner from that? You look at Minnesota. You look at even UND. North Dakota. Obviously, Wyoming. Some of the teams that they have played. Reno, ran the ball more than they threw it. There were a lot of teams that did that, and yet what they've done is they've kept people out of the end zone and done an outstanding job. I think their personnel, these guys are great tacklers. That's the one thing that really hits me is how the quality that they play with, and getting guys to the ground. And that's a credit to what they're doing there.
That said, you anticipate, trying to run a little bit more than on average.
Sure. Well, as always, we will do everything we can in our power to be balanced. And, I think, again, what the defense gives you is what you have to do as the game kind of wears on a little bit. That's what you have to take advantage of. And we will go in with the same balanced thought process. And, I think they'll obviously know where number 82 is lining up. I think the guy, obviously has a lot of pro background, so he understands matchups and how to try to take a guy out of a game. And yet, that puts that much more on making sure that we take what the defense gives us, and which I thought Garrett did a great job of in this last ball game. I mean, we spread the ball around and dusted it around a little bit and threw it around the infield, and that's kind of what we got to do.
You're a lot of points out of the top 25, but you're within one spot, within one point. Are you paying any attention to that?
It's been brought up, and I go back to it. I think that's an honor for the university and us to get mentioned kind of in that realm. I think we're starting to. Now, you know what? We're not starting to. We've caught some national spotlight and attention, and we've brought that back to the state of Colorado, which I feel is part of the reason I'm here. And I think our coaches have done an outstanding job in getting our guys prepared each week to face whatever it is we're going to face. And I mean that, guys, that's it's kind of a neat deal. I think it's neat for I see the energy on campus. I mean, look at that student section, man. I mean that's kind of cool. And I don't know how many more classes I have to go teach. God, I hope it's not cell biology again. But I think it's something that our vision was to be an extension of an unbelievably great university, and we're starting to head that way.
You got him out of the library for a night.
I'm not sure that's a good thing. It might have got him out of the bars for a night. I don't know, but at the same
ratings are
time.
coming out today in the playoff, and the SEC right now is 3 out of the 4 in the polls.
Uh-huh.
You've seen the SEC from both sides. Now you're sitting here with a 7-1 team that can't crack the top 25, and you've got one-loss teams in the top 4. Is the SEC overrated?
No, heck no. I've been through that murderer's row. Just know what kind of creatures they got playing there. But I'll say this, as far as that part of what you need to do, you have to establish a legacy as a program. We're battling from behind. I don't know when the last time we were even receiving votes, or, what I'm getting at, where somebody may say, hey, what about these guys over here in Fort Collins? What's kind of going on over there? So I think, part of this is building for the future to where you become kind of in that conversation. But you have to start somewhere. And my guess is probably started the season at 120, 125, I don't know. But, so we've made some inroads. We've started to climb a little bit, and but I think it's kind of a cool deal, Ter.
So you're not going to join the chorus that says the SEC is getting the benefit of the doubt or over?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. No, those weekly preparations and no, I don't have any problem against that one.
Jim, your running game, certainly it's been kind of good, not great maybe. How do you feel about the progress that it's made with D and Treyas?
No, I think it's been. I think what we have done, guys, is we've adapted to the team, and obviously people are loading the box that are creating some matchup situations for them on the outside. So therefore, I think our running game is doing just fine. I think part of what you try to do now is take what they give you, and obviously we're not force feeding anybody, but the throws are there, and Garrett's been throwing to the right colored jersey most of the time, and they've caught it,
How valuable has it been what Treyas and D have been able to do? Because that was obviously a big concern after losing Capri, and it seems like, as you're saying, you haven't really lost a lot. Maybe you've lost some yards and some touchdowns, but you haven't lost the balance and the ability to spread the defense.
Well, what those guys bring is energy, man, and a physical presence when they run the ball, and just an overall enthusiasm for the game. And they practice that way, and it affects the people around them. And those two guys they're fun to watch now, and I think as in the passing game too, it was a heck of a catch D made on that. That's one thing that guy can do. And then Treyas, I think, had 3 catches or something, and created some things. And once you can do that and become multi-dimensional as a player and a position, I think it's huge.
How similar are those guys in their abilities? They're similar sized. Are they drastically different in your mind in their abilities, or are they pretty similar in what
I think they're both pretty darn good players. And I don't pick it apart or anything.
It does seem that you're more effective in your running game when they're both healthy.
Oh, absolutely.
What is it that they do to feed off each other that creates something additional for a defense to think about?
What I like is the fact that they both play off of each other's energy, and they both root for each other when they're in there. And that's a rare kind of dynamic, because you would think one that's maybe not in there during a play would sit there and say, I should be in there. No. They feed off of each other, and when one sees one does, then the other one goes, what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
And, I think that what that probably does is probably speak for their character and their commitment to the family more than anything else can ever, really be a telling sign.
You knew obviously a lot about D before he arrived here. You didn't know as much about Treyas. What have you learned about him in his time here?
Well, I think we knew more about Treyas than maybe what you think, from the standpoint of when we had a chance to recruit this guy and get to know him on a personal level. He is self-driven. He's academically driven. He's a guy that has self-confidence but not arrogance. And a guy that when he smiles, man, he lights up a room. And so, you don't ever know until they get out there, right? But we obviously we do an extensive, for lack of a better term, background check on who someone is. Now, you're never going to get all the answers. But before we ever extend a scholarship to anybody, there's a certain set of criteria from a character standpoint. And when we visited with his high school people who obviously had recruited that area a long time, people back in that area, and then how he affected the junior college that he was at, there weren't any red flags. So you felt really good about what he was going to bring to the organization.
Let me ask you this way, because you see him on film, and there's obviously some you saw on film that excited you. But when you see him live, what was it that bolstered what you saw on film, or even impressed you more than what you saw?
You know, his inside running ability for maybe his stature is something that's pretty impressive. I mean, there was one run last week down towards the where the pile kept moving.
5 more yards.
You know what I'm getting at?
Right.
And it wasn't just taking that one little shot and getting knocked off.
Yeah.
I think he plays bigger than he is, if that makes sense. And the guy has, the thing I like is he's a guy that always looks to perfect his craft, and he's not satisfied. And I think this whole team, you know, we talked about early in the year not being satisfied with a bowl game from a year ago. Look, that should become the expectation, and don't be satisfied with what you have accomplished. Learn from what you've accomplished, but never be satisfied with that being the Mendoza line. Let's step up a little bit, and our thought process has to be a lot bigger than just, hey, this is cool, you know.
He and Dee are from the same neck of the woods, and as you said, you recruited, and you said you went back to their high school. Did you see him in high school at all?
You know, it's interesting. I think he was at the same high school as Driscoll, and he would have been one of the little guys running around out there on the field. But he was a guy that actually they talked about, you know, as a playmaker when we were there. And you know, that's really kind of the extent of it. The one thing that goes back to when you talk about relationships and getting the true story, there's a lot of snake oil salesmen out there. You know what I'm getting at? And they'll sell you anything unless you have a relationship. And once you have established a relationship, you actually get some of the core questions that you need answered. And I think those relationships have come to fruition in a couple spots, that being one of them.
Is the one difference people are seeing in your running game as opposed to last year? I mean, if Capri hit the open field, he was generally stopped by the goal line. That hasn't happened this year. But still, is your running game, with that one dynamic being missing, still as effective for what you want to do in terms of your offense?
Yeah. You know, there was. I think it goes back to what sets up what. And I think as they eliminate people in the box, all of a sudden those 4-yard gains go to 20-yard gains, and those are explosive runs. And, you know, we've increased our explosive plays so far. It's just been in a different vein. And I think, remember that tear a year ago that Capri was on that was like, you know, it was like video game numbers. Well, from the position the guy plays, I think 82's, I mean, shoot, guys. I mean, let's not discredit some of that. That's pretty cool stuff we got going.
But I think gentlemen be pretty good considering all the different offensive line combinations you had
Yeah.
in front of them. I mean, that can't be easy.
No, and I think those guys up front now, you know, they're getting in people's ways and giving those guys an opportunity to make a cut and one-cut run. Sometimes they maybe try to make too much of it. You know, that's one of the things I talked to Dee about. He's always looking to hit a home run every time instead of his best runs, you know, or one-cut runs. And, you know, I thought he did that pretty good in this last ball game.
You mentioned 82.
Injury. I just happen to have that right here. That would be, hey, can I go to Karnak? Hermetically sealed. Yeah, it's on the front porch. That's pretty good stuff. You ever seen that late night infomercial? You can get
Yes.
the Johnny Carson,
The entire set.
the entire set, and
It'd probably take a long time to watch.
well, you think about it. I think about growing up that before the ant fights would come on, but I'd watch the late night news and watch sports, and then Carson's monologue.
They have no idea what we're talking
And I'm telling you, there was just nothing better.
Yeah.
It's
This one we had like 4 channels.
was that Stu Balls? Was that your phone?
I'm in gray light now.
All right, good. Schlager will be out. Repercussions from that, the injury earlier, and then now some hamstring issues, and I think part of that.
He's out for the year.
No, out for this game. Mason Myers, who kind of was in an emergency role, I'm proud of the way this guy is. His focus is to get back in the lineup and play this week. We'll see as time goes on, but he'll definitely make the trip and be available, barring some unforeseen circumstance. Jason Oden has not been able to kick the back tightening and whatever's happening in there, and so I would say he would be very doubtful for this week.
Because he didn't suit up last week, did he?
Well, he actually threw warm-ups and just stuff wasn't right. So, as you guys know, I'm not putting a guy out there that can't say I'm ready to roll. Probably the only other one, Willie Udofia, who's been a really good special teams guy for us and a factor with his speed and really has adapted to that role. Had some groin tightness that we had to pull him off a couple in that game, so we'll see where that goes. And then DeAndre Elliott, who missed the last part of that game at corner, has some. He had that knee a little bit, and I think it's transferred up. He's got some hip soreness or something. So, and at those positions, as you guys know, those guys got to be ready to roll. So I don't know where he's going to be. Probably be an emergency guy, or we'll see how it goes through the week. But, at this time of year, every program in the country has got nicks and bruises. We've lost some really good football players that I just don't, we've had some guys that have stepped up and played really well for us. And so whoever's next in line, there's a lot of places in the country that are going through some injuries.
One of the guys that stepped in is Kevin O'Brien. We periodically ask you about it because it's so strange, remarkable to have a non-scholarship guy playing in your starting lineup. How's he doing? Is he still non-scholarship?
Yeah, you can't throw a guy on in the middle of the year. Be like you're bringing him off the streets and giving him a contract.
Yeah.
They don't have a practice squad?
Yeah, we don't. We haven't figured that part out yet.
That's cool.
Yeah, but Obes has done just remarkable, and he keeps getting better. With the more play that he gets, the different looks that he gets. I think Freddie's background at being a center, it helps in that combination playing guard. Nick Callender, I think, did some really good things coming in and playing guard. Now, second kind of position he's had to play. I think what Obes has done, man, is his study and preparation from, the different calls he needs to make to get everything started has been really good.
You talked a little bit about San Jose's defense. What have you seen from them offensively, especially since they've settled, I guess, at great quarterback?
Sure. Guy that gets the ball out quick. They don't. They have explosive playmakers there. That's the one thing that they historically have been able to get are really good skill guys. And I really like their 2 tackles. It's going to be a physical battle for us, and the biggest thing we need to do is force them to earn their yards. and you know, their time of possession deal is it just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we got to keep them out of the end zone, but that's something that's pretty interesting, I think. You know, to see how they're doing that. You know, their third downs are good. Obviously, their fourth downs are outstanding, and but you know, this is one of those deals where this is a team that's got our number, man, and we haven't solved the code yet, because they've put it on us pretty good the 2 years we've been here, and you know, it's one of those deals we've got to crack the code.
Jim, you were talking earlier about certainly Richard. Is a lot of it that your running game has been good enough to keep people from ganging up on Richard? They're obviously
No doubt
still
about it.
worried about stopping those backs, so because of that, they're not putting the extra guy on Richard.
Well, and that's what you kind of hope is that they pick their poison, so to say, and because both those backs of ours are explosive guys now, you know, and you know, when they one cut run, they're as good as anybody in the country, and I mean that. I mean they are good running backs, and so you know, I kind of look at it as I think our offensive guys done an outstanding job putting plans together to help us in matchups, and you know, I think that it's again one of the things, having a veteran NFL coach on our staff understands that part of it, you know, and yet we're facing a veteran NFL coach defensively that has spent his life figuring out matchups, right? So this will be a pretty good little chess match, I think.
You mentioned Richard. You also said at your press conference after the game, you explained your nursery rhyme.
Say,
Hey diddle diddle.
hey, diddle diddle,
Yeah,
dude down the middle.
Yeah.
That's actually part of a read that we have. That's part of, believe it or not, in Garrett's development. There's certain things, catchphrases, you know, that, you know, Hansley's deal was, hey, diddle diddle, dude down the middle, from the fact that it was an open coverage, so, or open safety coverage, and so, look, our teaching ways, it's whatever it takes, right, for them to understand. Do you remember sitting in those classes when the guy was like explaining something and you were like, oh, I am in like way over my head, right? I mean, I think about sitting in surface hydrology class. Dr. Quinn, awesome guy. Now, I needed this class to finish up my social sciences degree or be able to go teach it, right? And I can remember sitting there every single day in the front of the class, and I told him and promised him I'd be there. I had no idea what he was talking about. But then he would put it in some of the simplest forms. Hey, diddle diddle, dude down the middle. I mean, then it comes, man. I get it. Okay, there's clarity. So that's just one of those teaching things that, I don't know.
It's not a sign of how young your team was when you first came in.
Pardon me?
It's not a sign of how young your team was when you first came in. That you had to
No,
rhymes.
I've got to do that for myself. I you know, that's it.
Your version of Schoolhouse Rock.
That's exactly right.
I'm just trying to figure out how you apply hey diddle diddle to surface hydrology.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of truth in that, and that probably is a glimpse inside how messed up I really am.
You touched on this a little bit, but do you know Greg Robinson at all? And what do you see?
Yeah.
What do you see in what he's doing where you can say that guy's coached in Pro Bowl?
Yeah, you know, I don't know him at all. I've never met him. You know, obviously know of him and know of his background and that kind of stuff. And you know, what I see is the plan are the plans that he puts in place to attack a certain style of offense that you're getting. You can see the thought that go. It isn't just, you know, roll the roulette wheel and whatever comes up, that's your call. You know what I'm getting at? It's Oh, so I see what he's trying to do to take this away, and how he has them playing from a belief standpoint and how they tackle and don't allow the explosive play is something that you could tell this guy's got his stuff together. Anything else?
Jim,
Yeah.
I know we kind of touched upon this last week, but one of the things obviously you've got some pretty big things like character and all this, and yet Hollywood is able to be Hollywood. But where do you kind of draw the line of where a guy can be himself and yet not?
Everybody's
Right.
themselves. Our
Right.
guys are all themselves. I mean, look how, I'm talking about nursery rhymes in here, for Christ's sakes. So, but I mean, so if you can't get that from me in how we kind of run things, my biggest deal is how do you affect the people around you in a positive way? If your character is such that is Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, then drop it, man. I'm looking for Tigger. You know what I'm getting at? I mean, it's that simple.
Fair enough.
With that, I will just one kind of somber part on that. We've just total personal note. A guy that meant a ton to me personally and took a chance on me as a young coordinator at Montana State, Cliff Heisel, who was a good friend of Pokey's, come out of that same mold, a guy that was in Jim Sweeney's kind of coaching tree, and guy that really meant a lot to me as far as seeing how he took over a program and instilled discipline. A lot of the things that I carry with me, are from him, and he passed away the other day, and it really, the effect he had on young people's lives and how he raised his two daughters. It's hard, and when you lose good people, along the way, it's something that, is tough. And anybody you ask in the profession, he's a guy that's had an impact on a lot of different things, and that's just tough to see. So, all right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, John.
It's going good. At the beginning of the season, it was going real good, and then, I got hurt, and it was J.O. and D. They held it down while I was down, and then now we're getting things back in order. Everything's firing on all cylinders.
What is it about you and D that you just guys seem to kind of feed off each other? And I know you compete with each other in practice, but it seems like you guys feed off each other in games. When one guy breaks off a big run, it just makes the other one want to do it even more.
I mean, I think it's more, we come from the same place. We knew each other from back home. We came out here not knowing that we were going to be here together, and it kind of just brought us together more. So we see each other as brothers. So, we want each other to, do good and strive. So, we feed off each other energy.
What do you
How's
like
that
about the
relationship developed since D came here and over the course of the season?
He's gotten stronger and stronger. It started back in camp. I remember the first day I seen him, and we walked up to each other, and I was like, bro, I remember you. We played against you, Dr. Phillips. I went to Seminole High School. And he was like, yeah. And then from then, we talk every day. We with each other all day, with drills and things like that. So, the relationship just, grew as time went on.
What do you like about the run game right now, and where do you see that you guys can still improve?
Any run we do, it's positive. O-line up front, we got a good front up front, good O-line up front. So it makes it easier for us, to bust a lot of runs. The running game is only going to get better as we keep going. As we get more comfortable, and as I get comfortable with the offense, more and more comfortable, the run game is going to improve.
Chris, you're a guy that is built like you're one of those outside runners, little speed burner, but yet you like to carry piles.
Right.
You're pretty effective inside. What is it that keeps you comfortable running between the tackles and running strong like that at your size?
You know, it's something my granddad always told me. You know, it's not the size of the dog, it's the fight of the dog. So, you know, I always keep that mentality, that small man mentality. But, you know, I run like I'm big. And, you know, I don't mind running between the tackles. I like that better, actually.
Why so?
You know, because I'm small, I can hide. That's my advantage. I can hide behind my O-line, and when I see a little crease, you know, I just pop out and, you know, go fast as I can.
Oh, now you're still wearing a brace on that knee. Does
Right.
that slow you down any, the brace, or not?
No, not much. No, not at all. You know, it's there, but, you know, when the game starts, I forget it's there, you know. So I just, you know, just run as hard as I can.
You're always optimistic when you walk into something, but could you envision being 7-1 at this point of the season and being encroaching on the top 25 now?
Man, it's exciting. But from day one, Coach Matt been preaching it to us. He said it was a special team, special year. So the whole, you know, the locker room, everybody believed from the beginning that we're going to be something special. We just didn't know how special, but, you know, as time went on, you know, we found out how special we are.
What did your junior college experience do for you, and how did it make you different?
Junior college, I think it molded me as a person. You know, I went through a lot of ups and downs in junior college. You know, I learned a lot on the field and off the field. So I think it was a good thing for me that I did go to junior college.
What'd you learn?
I learned offense. I learned how to read a lot of fronts. I learned how to be a man, you know, because, you know, junior college, you got to defend on your own a lot of the time. So, you know, it molded me, made me who I am today.
Jim did say you were self-motivated. Did that stem from before or your junior college experience?
I've always been self-motivated because, you know, because of my size, you know, I'm always overlooked, so I always have to work harder, so, you know, have motivation. But JUCO, you know, that added to it. It added to the process and, you know, made me driven.
How'd you get the nickname Sosa?
Sosa, I got it from high school. My freshman year, I used to have dreads, just like D, and I cut them my freshman year. And Ray Armstrong, he plays for the Oakland Raiders now. I played high school with him. Andre DeBose, he plays for Florida. I played with him. And I came to school and I had my dreads cut, and they started calling me Gucci Sosa, and the name stuck. You know, ever since then, that's what they've been calling me, Sosa.
What have you liked about your time here at Colorado State, and where do you see it going for you as a player and as a person?
Man, I love it. The atmosphere is great. Everybody's, you know, welcoming. The weather, that's the part though. I got to get used to the cold. It's getting cold now, but other than that, you know, I love the town. You know, everybody's coming together. You know, the football program and everything, and you know, I like it here.
Do you like this balanced offense and how both sides seem to be feeding off each other?
Right. Yes, sir. That makes it easier. You know, when when all sides of the ball is doing well, you know, it makes it easier for the opposing side, and it makes it harder for other teams to be able to, you know, match up against us.
What do you guys think as running backs every time Rashard takes one deep?
And Rashard, he's a player. He's a baller. As we would call it back home, he's a baller. But you know, when Rashard gets the ball, it's like threading a needle. You know, like you never know. He might take it all the way. So, you know, that's just when you get the ball, you got to take advantage of your opportunity because, you know, you never know.
Is there a little running back in Rashard? When you watch some of them, because he's kind of that one cut
Right,
too
right.
after making the catch.
Right, man. Rashard is special. He got it. You know.
I know you and Dee didn't know each other, but you played each other.
Right.
You knew each other.
Right.
Did you play against each other?
Yes, we played
What was
against
that
each other.
game like?
It was exciting. You know, he was a big-time running back coming out of Florida, you know, and so was I. But the first play, I'll never forget, the first play of the game, you know, he popped like an 80-yarder on us, take it all the way to the house. And then and after the game, I had hollered at him. I was like, good run. He was like, yeah. I was like, you going to Bama? He was like, yeah, I'm going to Bama next year. I was like, good luck. And then that's the last time I talked to him as far as football-wise until I got here.
So then it's kind of weird the way it worked out.
Right, right. It's like a circle, you know, we came back together again. So now we're here, you know, trying to make some things happen.
What is it that you do that drives him and vice versa? Because it seems when you both are healthy or any game, the running game is better. And as Jim called it, there's an energy to it.
Right.
Is that what you provide, or is it feeding off each other? What do you see it as?
I just see it as it's energy, you know, it's feeding off each other, you know, it's everything in between, you know, it's just extra motivation. You know, like I said, we talk about it all the time. You know, when I see him out there on the field, we're always making eye contact. You know, like I know when he's tired, you know, so when I look at him, you know, I can tell when he's tired, you know, I give him a signal, and that's vice versa, it's the same. But when he pop a big run, it's just motivation. I don't know. It's just motivation for me to pop a big run.
You said you guys root for each other, and obviously has that helped the team to just be able to look at each other and say, oh man, he's tired, like I need to go in?
Right. Well, because there's always fresh legs in there. We talk about it all the time. It makes it harder for a defense when you got a guy running full speed every play, but it's just not. It's not the same guy. 3 plays it might be D, and the next 3 plays is me, but it's still that same pace. It's the fast pace. So it wears down the defense up front.
Do you see UMD as having similar running styles, or if not, what are the differences you see?
D likes to cut it back a lot. He's a cutback king. That's what I call him. I like to hit it up in there. We both are running to somebody, so we're not afraid. But we got different. We're similar in some areas, and we're different in some areas too.
You have a better spin move though, is that right?
Yeah, I got the spin move. I think I got the spin.
Does he have a little bit of that too? The undersized kind of there's a toughness.
Right.
Trying to prove to people. Capri used to talk about that last year, about just wanting to prove to people that his size didn't matter.
Right.
He was bigger than both you guys.
Right.
What do you say to him about his hair?
Who, D?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't say much.
Oh, okay.
Nah, I don't say much.
That's not a factor. What about Rashard's hair?
Anything else for Travis?
Despite everything that's going on.
I think it might seem a little loose to other people outside the program, but we're definitely still focused, still working hard every day, and we're pushing each other.
But is it just a fun environment to be around?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot funner than my freshman year. I think we're at 3-9, and then last year 8-6, and then now we're 7-1. So it's definitely a different feeling around the program, but it's very exciting.
From your standpoint, what's the biggest difference in the defense from that 4-8 year as it was your first year?
Overall, I think we just play better together. We watch a lot of film together. We give each other pointers. We're very close as a defense. So I think that has kind of changed a little bit over the years.
Just the teamwork aspect?
Yeah, just
Really
being
extra steady?
a big team, a bunch of brothers playing against just another team. So.
You've been used so many different ways, so many different places,
Mhm.
so many different styles. Has that made you a better player? Do you like that variety?
I like it, yeah, for sure. Whatever way I could get on the field, really, and help the team out, whatever they need, I'll do. So.
You're a Colorado guy.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Is it a little more exciting for you guys from Colorado to see what's going on?
Yeah, it is. I know, like me with Max first class, me, Joe Hansley, and Baden and them. We want to come in and help turn the program around, help and do that. It's big for us.
Kevin, from the defensive standpoint, obviously you guys 7-1 happy, but how frustrating is it to have Wyoming get touchdowns on those last 4 possessions? Nevada did it on the last 3 games that you guys have really wrapped up, and
Mhm.
yet maybe not closing them out. I know Coach gets frustrated. He's talked about it to us.
Yeah.
What do you guys as a defense
I'd
do?
say there's some frustration, but it's something that we gotta look back at, look over the film, and move on from it. Learn and just continue pushing each other, continue working hard, and watching film and stuff like that.
Is it just that it's harder to keep your focus when you've got such a big lead, maybe, and little things start happening, or?
It may be a couple little mistakes that will give a offense some energy, but like I said, that's something we're trying to eliminate and just move forward from.
At the same time, how nice is it to be able to play as well as you guys are early, to hold a team like Wyoming to 3 points until the last 20
Yeah,
minutes?
it's good. It's exciting. Just shows the work we put in.
How much do you have to do a little bit more film study during the week because you're asked to play so many different spots?
It's same. I mean, it's just knowing different positions. I wouldn't say it's any more film study than just playing one position.
So your keys don't really vary from if you're the Mike as the Sam?
They do a little bit, but I mean, it's something that you learn. I have a lot of help from Corey and Max and AD and them, or Aaron and them, so it helps out a lot.
How nice is it for you to just fucking be playing? You've had such a kind of injury-filled
Yeah.
career here at Colorado
It's
State.
exciting, just finally be able to play and represent my hometown, my family, and just play with these guys, my other family. So.
How much, I was asking Coach this, but certainly you guys have your, there's a big emphasis on the team and everything like that, and at the same time, it seems like he does allow guys to kind of be themselves, be individuals. Obviously, a lot of coaches maybe Higgins calling himself Hollywood and
Yeah.
his stuff. What do you see in that? Do you see that Coach McElwain is pretty flexible when it comes to that kind of stuff?
He is some, but it just, I think it goes back to the individual caring what's best for the team, doing what's best for the team. As long as he stays in those boundaries, I think it's all right.
Do you guys have a lot of characters in that locker room?
Probably.
If we were to really get to know you guys better, would you see a lot of that?
Yeah, you'd see a lot different guys than you would think they are, but it's mostly just us being us.
Is Jim one of the bigger characters that you guys have?
Coach Mac?
Yeah.
At times, yeah.
Yeah.
He he has his little jokes
He has
once in a
his
while. Little jokes
Yeah.
At the end of practice or whatever. But
Usually about stuff you guys probably don't get, right? Because if it's like
half the time, yeah,
it's
it's
about 70s,
old stuff,
80s,
yeah. Yeah.
60s and 70s.
Him and Coach Hammer, yeah.
So do you have to get quick history refreshers?
A little
for
bit.
some of that
Coach
stuff?
Hammer, he brings he shows us a couple old videos and stuff. We don't have no idea what he's talking about really until he shows us videos. So
Who's the funnier Davis?
probably Aaron. Aaron seems quiet, but he has his moments where he's really funny.
What do you know about San Jose State?
I know I think they beat Wyoming in overtime the week before we played them, so it's definitely gotta just prepare. Every team that we play from here on out, we just gotta keep preparing, doing what we've been doing, keeping focused. So.
From a player standpoint, you guys are just one spot out of the top 25.
Mhm.
What's that mean to you, and what would it mean to get into that top 25?
It's exciting. It shows the work we put in from RAMU even this summer, and just being together as a team. Work so hard, and then to be almost in the top 25, that'd be really exciting.
How is Mac at a coach though, at being able to keep things loose and keep you focused at the same time?
Mhm.
It make you laugh while you're still doing your tasks.
I think it kind of keeps us loose, but at the same time, he expects us to be, on point, doing what we got to do to continue winning.
Do you need some of that looseness, though, to be able to?
Every
get
once in a while you do.
Too serious. I know.
Yeah.
One of the criticisms of the previous staff, and Steve Fairchild made it of himself, is that he made it no fun anymore sometimes.
Yeah, Mac's definitely making it fun, but like I said, he's keeping us on point, keeping us focused, and it just helps us play loose or play how we play. So.
To make you laugh every day, or is it just every so often?
It's every couple of days probably, but
Every couple days.
yeah,
What's the funniest thing that he's thrown you with?
I can't remember, honestly.
Just too much.
It's just
material.
every once in a while he just says something and you just start laughing at it.
Are the other coaches that way too, or?
Probably Coach Hammer with the special teams meetings. Like I said, with the old songs he talks about, you don't know what he's talking about, or old videos, and then he'll bring them up. So.
Like music videos or just
Like old, yeah.
Yeah.
Music videos or cartoons or something
Yeah.
like that.
When you say old, you mean something that we would recognize? or-
Probably, yeah.
Careful.
We're the same age as your coaches.
Yeah.
Okay,
We still
yeah.
remember when MTV played videos.
You guys good?
I'm good. Thanks,
Thanks,
Kevin. I
Kevin.
appreciate it.